Trails Collective, what's shaking? Ian here for the weekly rundown, week ending January 29th, 2021. I'm going to have a go at just one combined episode again this week because I got a lot on my plate and it's easier to just knock it out in one shot. So let's get into it. This past week I headed back out for a bonus round on the Stickiest Rubber shoe competition. Some of you may have caught that I took 9 of the top outsole rubbers to some of the slickest terrain I know of and that I've experienced for a head-to-head competition to see who's really the stickiest. One of the pieces that I ended up missing was having a Vibram Megagrip. In my ignorance, I thought the Vibram XS Trek would stack up and give me a good sense of Vibram, but it didn't. So I headed back out for a bonus round. You can check it out. You can see whether any of the podium slots were dethroned, so to speak, and see how that shook out. Tuesday, or actually today, I released a review of the North Face Vective Infinite shoe. This is, they've been working on this line or series for, I don't know, since I was cued into it in mid to late 2019. Somewhat kind of secretive. A whole lot went into their lab testing team, so I was really excited to get it on my feet. I put in maybe 75 miles or so over the past couple weeks in it and got the review out today. So for some of you who've been in the space for a while, you know that North Face has had a tough time really coming up with a top tier shoe that kind of really all works. So you can find out what I think, I mean, there's some pretty top-notch components that go into this and really how it all comes together. Check that out. I also just got in 3 shoes are constantly coming in. There are worse problems, I guess, to have in the world than being overloaded with shoe reviews, but I'm thankful for that problem. Today, I just came through the door was the Salomon Predict 2, hot off the presses. This is one that I've been waiting for since mid-2020 when the Predict 2 was supposed to come out. The Predict 1 was one of the most comfortable shoes out of the box. I don't think I have it here, but it was just kind of like an unresponsive marshmallow to run in. So I've been really anxious to see what this Predict 2 whether it makes the corrections. So I haven't had it on my foot yet, but excited to. The Cross Pro also just arrived, somewhat of a meld between the S-Lab Cross as well as one of my favorite shoes of 2019, or 2020 rather, the Wild Cross. So I'll give this a go. And then the Gore-Tex version of the Wild Cross also just arrived that will have at least some sizes in the shop. So be excited to check that out. Let's see what else. I'll be hopefully uploading this episode on Wednesday. I'll be taking over the TC Live interview series. Ellie is headed back to school and she is really doubling down on focusing on our academics here for a bit and to try to get that lined out. And then maybe she'll weave back in. So I'll be trying to do what I can to stand in her stead. This week we will have Sarah Weafer and a couple others on. They fill various hats in the Maine outdoors and trail organization and eco space, and collectively put on the Mahoosuc Ridge to River Challenge, which it looks like a beautiful event that was on my radar this past year. And then I'll also be on the Pain Cave with Jay and Phil in tomorrow night. We'll film. I think they'll probably have it live later in the week. I pulled in a buddy who many of you are probably familiar with, Bryon Powell of I Run Far. I reached out to see whether he'd want to join me in the episode, so we will I'll hopefully have a good time there. Look out for that. Let's see, in other media, Cultra released episode 112 last Friday, connected with the summer's AT record setter, the badass Liz Anjos, if I pronounce that last name correctly. Check that out at the Cultra Running link that we'll have plugged. I'm also hoping to go live by the end of this week with my first article in a series on the best trail towns in our region. I've always enjoyed those articles when they come out in Trail Runner. So, I don't know, thought I'd do a little bit of the same. And I'm going state by state in our region. I'm going to try to do one a month if I can. So stay tuned for which one I choose to roll out with. I'm taking some votes for the final tally of the order and looking to get a couple other clips in, and then hopefully I'll get that live. Other media, let's see, West Virginia Mountain Trail Runners. The Board of Directors adopted and released a preparedness and safety planning guide for hosting club-sponsored races and events during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. You can check that out at a link I'll plug. So other event directors out there or participants or anybody who might be interested, check that out for maybe a blueprint with some good suggestions to apply. Results. The event calendar, at least on my radar, was pretty quiet this week. That is with the exception of the Frigid Idiot, put on by Idiot runners Eric and Becky Kozek. Looks like they had a pretty good crew out to see who was stupid enough to basically keep going. All for the podium prizes of swords. Looks like COVID just continues, and the polarization in this country just keeps getting nastier. We may have to start running with those things in place of bottles, and especially if Sasquatches keep turning up on our trails or social media posts. Some contenders held strong in the Frigid Idiot through most of the day. As usual, most were losers. We'll hear from two, Stephen Larrick and Misty Trowbridge. Take it away back to back, kids.
Hello, Trail Collective. My name is Misty Trowbridge, and I am going to share my experience of the Frigid 15-hour Idiot Trail Run that was held this past Saturday in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. Put on by the lovely Kozak family, Becky Kozak and her husband Eric, the Idiot runner himself, Kozak. Their two lovely daughters, Lauren and Casey. It's an event that took place at 7 a.m. Out in Wellsboro. So the weather was cold, 20 degrees give or take throughout the day. Conditions were pretty tough. I ended up wearing my micro spikes the entire time, no regrets. So there's that. A little bit about the trail itself. Starts at the Kozak's homestead. Right there in their garage is our aid station where each participant brings something to the aid station for everybody to share as fuel. So start there, head out on a road which takes you up a old loggers road, approximately 800 feet of vert for a total 4.1 miles for the gain onto the Mid-State Trail, and down the hill, back around, and you're done. So this is my third time at the Kozaks doing this race, and I just couldn't be more excited and more happy, and my fire is so lit for the year. I'm so pumped because I had an opportunity to, start the year off on a looped race, which meant I got to witness all levels of running. You've got Sayard, you've got Eric, you've got Adam Kolb, you've got, you get to witness them push it, kip, and then you've got the people that are there just to get a couple of slow miles in, and just being around all of that energy and seeing people want to improve and getting feedback on what's been working for them, and just coming out of a terrible COVID year. It's really, it's an inspiration to have an opportunity like that, to be there and to actually get to see other people and witness their stories and just light each other up for the year. So for my personal experience, I had a goal of doing all 15 hours. Got there, got running, had a little bit of up and down, stayed warm, tried to fuel well. Halfway through, it kind of hit me that, I'm not sure, but I kind of want to just step back a little bit and really visit with my trail family. Had some slight, physical issues I wanted to maybe just back down off of. So around my 10th hour, I did drop out of the race and continued to cheer people on for a little while and got to watch everybody do what they do. And I had an amazing time, and I look forward to doing it this summer. And I'm so proud to be an Idiot runner. And yeah, so that was the Frigid 15-hour feedback from me, Misty Trowbridge. Happy trails.
Hi, my name is Stephen Larrick, and this past Saturday, January 23rd, 2021, I had the privilege of running the Frigid Idiot 15, which is a 15-hour loop race up in north central Pennsylvania. Each loop was about 4.1-ish miles on mostly a snow-covered single track, with a large portion being on the Mid-State Trail. And there's around 7, maybe 800, depending on your watch, vertical per loop. this wasn't the first Idiot race, but this is my first time being part of it, and I really think what Idiot runner Kozik has here is truly something special. I won't be able to fit everything I want to say about this race into this video, but I definitely wanted to say that much. Each loop you come back and you mark down that you completed it, and upon that point there's an aid station with everything you possibly imagine. Each runner brought a little bit, so it's that was really a special part of the whole event, I think. And then there was the wood burning stove in the back room to dry off any gear, and but I think Eric Ferree said it best, that there's racers in the front and party in the back, and I found that funny to think about while I was out there. There's a lot of strong runners that showed up. There's 31 of us, I think, at the 7 a.m. start, where temperatures are around 16 degrees and strong winds and a real feel of 3. So I guess at that point in time, I mean, at least myself, I felt like a frigid idiot, and everything, you know, felt pretty fitting for the most part. I want to do this event because it's something different and something I haven't done in my running yet, and I knew I'd meet other like-minded runners and people. So also I knew it'd be a challenge being in January, and I like a challenge. In my training leading up to this race in the coming weeks, I found a 4.5-ish mile loop and consistently ran that. But in addition to that, I was pushing the uphills and chasing KOMs on Strava, which I don't normally do, and figure I'll mention that in the video. When the race started, I found myself chasing the leaders, and quickly realized by the start of loop 2 that wasn't going to be a maintainable pace for the 15 hours for myself. And then by loop 3, I had my first issue. I had to change socks and my shoes, and I was being the first of many throughout the day. But by loop 5, I was soaking wet and had a really bad attitude developing, and just thinking to myself that if I climbed in my van, which was basically parked right on course, that I didn't think anybody'd miss me, or how long would it even take till somebody missed me or knocked on the van. And I think that's just a really bad attitude to have. And if you're only, you got 10 hours left to go in a race and you're already thinking like that. I don't think it would have been possible to keep going back out if it wasn't for the camaraderie amongst all the runners and people that were there, and a certain post about a front door knob, and just keep turning it and going back out. I didn't come out of that low point until Mr. Kozik told me that I was headed into, it looks like I was headed into 4th place, and then I finally had, some couple good loops and was on a high as the sun was going down. But then inevitably the sun set, and things started to feel like a real ultra at that point. You've been running, you see the sunrise and the sunset, and now you got, still hours to go. And places on the trail were certainly starting to look pretty comfortable. After my 13th loop, I found out it wouldn't have mattered if I continued on, that I was in 4th place. And however, I was there, I set a goal of at least running 100K. I mean, I wanted more, but I went back out on that 14th loop, and it was by far my slowest, hardest, coldest loop, and got back in. I still had 2 more miles to go for the 100K mark, so I just did a quick mile out and a mile back. I wouldn't really say quick, but I got it done. Got back and immediately shivering, cold sweats, and a good hurl, so I knew I left it all out there, and I was feeling pretty good about myself, but at the same time feeling pretty bad, I guess. But we left it all out there. I was happy, Though all said and done, there were 3 runners that completed 12 loops, which was 50 miles, and that was Becky Kozik, Brian Bayman, and Rhoda Smoker. Congratulations to them. I want to give a big shout out to 2 runners that set personal PRs, and that was John Parks III and Ed Pry. Congratulations, guys, that's awesome. I found myself in 4th place after all of it with 14 loops, and satisfied with that. It's good won at 100K. So, in third place we had Adam Kolb, who had 17 loops, and every time I saw him out there, he told me he kept going. That was awesome. He was killing it. And then second place we had Eric Free, who had a stellar performance at 18 loops, and he actually came back in and went out onto his 18th loop, even though he didn't necessarily need to do it. And that was just really awesome to watch and inspiring. So that's cool. Major kudos at Eric Free. And in first place we had Sarah Tennis with 18 loops, and that's 74 miles in 24 hours with 14,000 feet of elevation gain, I guess. I think something that's awesome. And then everybody was so supportive throughout the whole event. I can't thank Eric and Becky Kozik enough. Their daughters, they really made you feel like you're part of their family every time you came back in, and major kudos to the whole family. And then so we had these, everybody got these coasters here with the artwork of the infamous Lipsy. That's pretty cool to bring home, as well as everybody got personal bibs, and yeah, that's cool to hang up as well. Thanks for watching.
Upcoming events, the Ultra Sign Up hot list. Don't say I didn't give you fair warning the past 2 weeks, but 2 events just closed out. The Dirty Kiln Trail Race and Half is, I think, closed out. And my events at Breakneck Point, 21K, 42K, also just closed out. Speaking of the Squatch, the Squatchy Onesie Fest, which is a 5K marathon. I don't even know what the hell that means, other than if it's truly a 5K marathon something. Clearly the marathon is no longer as tough as it was when that original dude ran point to point and died at the finish. So way to soften the our evolutionary curve there, Squatchy. It's all about a party, right? Might as well just make a marathon a 5K now. Maybe I need to look into what it really means. In any case, it's 96% full. So if you're into the 5K marathon thing, better get on it now. Valentine's in the Pines, slated for February 13th, and Beechwood, New Jersey, is closing in on 90% full. English's Ridge Rumble 10-miler in Fayetteville, New York, crept up 2% on the charts this week to being 86% full. The Run Amok 50K running on April 4th in Brownsville, Vermont, also crept up 5% and is 86% full now, if I remember right. Registration's opening January 30th. On deck is the Shawnee Peak Ultra Challenge, 2 and 6 hour. It runs in Bridgeton, Maine. And then February 1st, a slew of races, registrations will open. Some that we've mentioned the past couple weeks: the Blue to Blue Trail Challenge 50K in New Haven, Connecticut, Loon Mountain Race, an iconic New England mountain race running July 11th in Lincoln, New Hampshire, Catoctin 50K Trail Run and Half Cat in Frederick, Maryland, and the Loopy Looper 12-hour in Pennsauken Township, New Jersey, all opening February 1st. And then 2 new notices this week, which I think just finalized their calendar and are going live here February 1st with registration. The Soapstone Mountain Trail Races 24K, 6K, which runs May 16th, and the Nipmuc South Trail Race 14.5 mile, which runs on June 13th. All right, FKTs. It was just Connecticut this week. I'm sure I'm taking these early, grabbing them, everything that's posted on the Fastest Known Time site as of Tuesday evening here. But it's only Connecticut on the boards. Similar to, I think, when I started this time of year, the Trails Collective about a year ago, Connecticut was just dominating the early season. Chris Deming, 1 hour 36 minutes for the 8.4 mile Sunny Valley Trail out and back configuration. Brian Kimmey, 55 minutes, 16 seconds for the Tunxus Trail South one-way format. It was a baseline mark. Stefan Rodriguez would have no part of that. He went out a day later to lower Brian's mark by 8 minutes to 47 minutes, 11 seconds for that Tunxus Trails segment. And then Kate Gelenow. I still don't know whether I'm pronouncing your last name right. Let me know on Facebook. Reach to me, find me, and tell me whether I keep mispronouncing your last name. 3 hours, 47 minutes for the one-way unsupported mark on the 16-mile Ives Trail. She shaved off 9 minutes off the 2 of my teammates, Amy Hanlon and Mendy Gallo's mark from August 2019. So that's what's shaking in the region, what's shaking on the trails. As always, reach out to me if you've got events coming up, notices, things you want to be on my radar. If you're an event director, feel free to check in, and if you can film me a clip, maybe I can weave it in. if you are somebody out there that's just doing something cool you're pretty excited about, or if you're a shop doing some sort of events, once we get back to events, give me the heads up. Also, race directors, please get on the Trails Collective site and claim your race so that when I'm looking at the trail calendar to know what to announce, I have accurate dates. And you can also, not that you need another thing on your plate, but you can build out the race profile there and hopefully add more color to that. So, thanks for tuning in. I will check you next week, and see ya!